Thank you, sir. Welcome to this meeting of the Economic Development and Tourism Committee of the Port Orchard City Council. My name is John Morrissey. I am the chair of this committee. I have two committee members here with me today. I will let them introduce themselves. Ms. Fenton?
Heidi Fenton, council member.
And Mr. Chang.
I'm Fred Chang, council member.
Excellent. Just heard back from the mayor. He will be joining us next. He's having computer issues. But let's hear from city staff. Mr. Bond.
Yeah, Nick Bond, Community Development Director.
Mr. Fisk.
Jim Fisk, Principal Planner.
And just one more from your department.
Connor.
Yeah, Connor Dahlquist, Associate Planner.
Thank you, Connor. Director Ryan.
Dennis Ryan, Public Works Director.
Perfect. Thank you. And there was another member of Nick's team I didn't see down in the corner. Go for it, Mr. Hamer.
Chris Hammer, Public Works, City Engineer.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you for being in attendance. And then we have our community members. So I'm going to start how they're on in my screen so I don't miss one like I did with city staff. Miss Anderson.
Gary Anderson, G. Anderson Group,
Right.
and Commissioner Port of Bremerton.
Perfect. Thank you, Gary. And with you?
I'm Sarah Butler, and I'm part of the Port Orchard Waterfront Alliance.
Perfect. How about Erica?
Hi, Erica Anderson, and I am with the Port Orchard Farmers Market.
Thank you. Mr. Joe?
Joe Morrison, Kitsap EDA.
Perfect. Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
Hello, good morning. Josh Johnson. I'm Port Orchard, City of Port Orchard Public Information Officer on contract, and I'm with Love Kitsap and the Kitsap Tourism Coalition and other things as well, but I think that's the only thing pertinent.
Thank you, sir. And Miss Adams?
Oh,
You're on mute.
Yeah, I'm
There she
trying to
is.
figure out how to navigate my phone. Monica Adams, the Port Orchard Waterfront Alliance.
Perfect. Thank you. And like the timing was just made for him, his name appears. Let's give him a second. His computer is running slow. Oh, now he's unmuted.
Drum roll.
There he is.
My goodness, my computer, that was painful for me to get here. Wow, I'm here though. Sorry.
Okay.
On to Port Orchard Mayor.
Thank you. You'll round out. We just finished introduction, so I'm fairly certain you're familiar with everybody here on your screen today.
I am.
So we won't go do that again. Let's dig straight in. So we did ask today to begin just where we're at and what we know thus far, because we know that the Bay Street reconstruction project there is going to have a profound impact in our downtown core. So I know there's a map associated with it, but I'm going to turn it over to staff here to kind of walk through where we're at and what we know today so that we can begin to disseminate. And I think even I heard in the last week that our timelines may be ever so
Well, if I
fluid.
may, John, I could start because
Go for
Nick
it.
and I just had a meeting with Kitsap Bank on Friday. I've got some timely news related to funding. We've got a week ago today, we got word from Senator Cantwell's office that we were awarded $3 million for this project. So if that funding does come to fruition, remember it'll be part of the federal budget and all of that process. And that likely won't be in place until the fall. So when I would say 5 months ago, or so, we asked for $3 million from the state. During the legislative session, I asked for $3 million from our two senators. We got $1 million from the state, and then we got the $3 million award just this last week. So we're still grappling with timing and what all that means. In the perfect world, the budget gets approved on time, we get all the documents in place, and and it meets all of our timelines to go to construction right after the first of the year. Because what we can't have is a scenario like the state's roundabout, where we get it almost done and we're ready to pave, and November comes along and we can't pave till spring and leave the road that way. So we've got to be mindful of that we really, if we're going to construct in 2023, 2026, that we've got to be on time with that. Now, one thing, and our finance director's not here yet, this is all new information. It could be a scenario where, it's a $10 million project. These last $3 million, it's a reimbursement, but we can't spend the money and not be under contract yet. So it could be a scenario where it's the tail end of the funding in this project if the timing of that works. And I think I don't want to do this but we have enough local dollars that we could not take the federal money and still meet our construction timeline in 2026. I'd rather take the federal money and spend not the extra, but the dollars we didn't spend on the road, on the community center, and the plaza. And then I think probably the worst case scenario, if it is a worst case scenario, is we would delay that road construction 1 year and build the community center and the road at the same time. And so where we're at in the construction process, we're at a 60% design. The state has approved our elevations, and where the road's going to be aligned. They've approved our reducing the speed limit to 20 miles an hour. And we've got amenities in the road project that are going to make it more pedestrian friendly. So we aren't to our traffic control plan, but the two scenarios that have been presented to us is one, a 6-month construction project, 6 to 9 months, but let's think positively. Once we get all the ditches dug and the pipes in the ground, then we're much more confident about surprises. And that would entail closing Bay Street for probably 60 days. And correct me if I misstate any of this, Chris, because I've got a lot of this information from you. And we would detour much like our snow route, other than we would drop folks back down from Kitsap to Sydney for that detour. And that the section of Sydney from Frederick to Sydney, Bay Street from Frederick to Sydney, would still be open to park on. I brought up at the merchants meeting here a month ago, hey, let's if we're under construction and World Cup's here, let's activate that space and turn it into our own little mini fan zone or something of that nature there. Another alternative is a year to a year and a half construction project. We don't close the road. It's one-way traffic with flaggers where the construction's happening on, and it drags the construction out a much longer period of time. And I see Monica cringing, and that's when I talked to the various merchants and I brought it up. Nobody we need to do the construction. It's going to impact us, but the feedback I've been getting from the business community is get this thing underway, get it done, and get it done as fast as you can. So I believe we are leaning towards the road closure for that short period of time. And it also makes the project less expensive to construct because we've given the contractor that work zone, and it doesn't have the flagging requirements and other things that a partial road closure has. So is that enough background for you? Decisions haven't been made, but the council, will get a chance to weigh in on this once we get probably to a 90% design, which will be by this fall.
Okay. I see Fred, so I'm going to start with Councilmember Chang, and then I will go to Monica.
Thanks, Rob. I heard you say one of the options was we might build the road and the community center at the same time. Did you mean we would build the road and the bank would build their headquarters at the same time?
No, in that scenario, they're probably vacating and moving their staff to other locations. And then all of a sudden we've jumped ahead of the bank.
Okay.
So we met with them Friday. They're still 100% committed to their project. As we know, COVID has changed the world we live in, and they're not 100% sure they need a 3-story building anymore. It might be a 2-story building. It might be a 3-story building that they lease a floor of it out. They're grappling with all of those things, and not everybody has, in the work world is in particular when it comes to, office professionals are in the office every day. And so this building is expensive and they want to make sure they build what they need and not overbuild it.
So that's good news. So we could start on the community center without having to wait for them to build their headquarters first.
That is a
Great.
possibility.
Okay.
That is a possibility.
So I'm hearing, no matter what with the road, they're not anticipating extending their lease.
It could,
Okay. Maybe,
those are all under discussion. I don't believe we want to delay beyond 2027. I think the community's starting to lose, they're not seeing progress. And we will have this fall, we will have updated construction numbers. Is my timeline correct, Nick? It's this fall, right?
Yeah, the pricing for the community event center, I believe they said they're aiming for November.
Yeah, so we will have pricing numbers, and we know that it's gone up, and and that'll be our check-in. Okay, what do we have in for resources? This is truly what it's going to cost to construct this, and that'll be our moment in time to say, are we ready? Have we collected enough park impact fees to cover our share of it? So a lot of decisions about the road, the community center, and everything are going to be made before the end of the year, and when we're going to go to construction. And I have a meeting today, matter of fact, with Jason Driver from KRL. So he and I get together about every 60 days to just update each other on their side and our side. And obviously I have new information that I got last week.
Excellent. Fred, did that answer all your questions?
Yes, this is really good news to me because I hated to think that we were still waiting on the bank before we could do anything. So it's nice that we have a little more autonomy. That's good news. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I think
sir.
we want to be open to what their needs are, but they aren't. Larry said it Friday. We're not, if you guys are ready to go, we're not going to hold you back. We'll get out of the way, and we'll they've got office spaces, and it's not perfect for them, but they would, move folks around and do some different things with their drive-up facility.
Okay. Monica.
I know it's all just hypothetical right now, and I think you just said the fall will have time frame, but if we were definitely the business feelings, the merchants is get her done, shorten it up, 60 days hopeful, 90 days, all right. But do we have any idea what time of year that fall, that time frame might fall? Like, obviously it would be way less impactful to businesses if it started in slow months instead of, but I know road is usually like the height of summer.
So Monica, we're gonna decisions will be made, this fall and for sure by the end of the year. Our goal on this road is to go out to bid in December, January, February, March timeframe, so in the late winter to be awarding a contract if we're going to go to construction in 2026 and starting in the spring. I mean, you can't be, digging holes when the heavy rains are happening, because all you're making is a muddy mess, but because we've got to be done by the winter, by October, really. But I would think that utility work and the heavy construction's happening at the beginning, the demo, and then the heavy construction. And then we're pouring sidewalks and, the stuff you see above the grade.
Fun.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Monica. Josh.
And do we know of any resources or grants available to our downtown merchants that will be effective for the 60, 90
There's, I'm
plus?
not, I don't believe there's anything out there like that, Josh.
Nothing like that. No. Yeah.
Not at all.
That's my fear, is that we're going to see a winnowing of some of our beloved businesses. Necessarily so, but gosh, if there was any material resources on the state or whatever level, we should pursue.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think we noticed that during the roundabout, right? I mean, there was consternation, and we just got to rally the troops and, do like we did with the roundabout. I think is really what we're going to see. I know that it is council and the mayor's intention to not have this thing drag on like the roundabout did. So hopefully better planning will afford better results.
And Josh is crucial to this. It's communication and making sure the community knows our businesses are open, how to get there, where you can park. I mean, we've got this area on Bay Street that isn't open to traffic that you can park on, and making sure everybody continually reinforcing that our businesses are there. We need to support them and, come down and check out the construction.
I want to go to Director Bond, and then I'm going to go to Councilmember Chang again.
Oh, the mayor said most of what I was going to say, so I lowered my hand.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, sir. Councilmember Chang?
Yeah, I think Josh raises a really good question, because the city of Seattle was able to mitigate for their waterfront tenants such as Ivar's and the Curiosity Shop. Is there any way that we could find out how the city of Seattle did it? Obviously, they have a much bigger
Their general fund.
And it's not the state, but it might be interesting to see that they did it and how they did it.
Yeah, I think the mayor's right. It's probably general fund. I don't know, again, how much of that you'd have to dig into their funding of that whole project, because, underneath the whole premise of that start was the tunnel, which is a state highway. So I don't know if the state partially offset some of that, but they have a much more robust general fund than we do.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could find out more, don't you think?
Always, more information is better, and then kind of see where that takes us. Monica.
Thank you. In general, I know the business discussions that we've had at our board meetings were, and Josh, hey, congratulations on your position. You're awesome for that. But would the city be willing to do billboards or banners or, something that helps to continue to route traffic down? And I know that if the merchants heard that one of the council people, maybe Fred, called the city of Seattle to do some investigation, that would really help too, right? All of those actions are going to help merchants feel supported by the city. And it's not just going to be this 90-day period, because we are going to face future road closures and building and infrastructure challenges for many years to come as those event centers and the bank building and everything happen. So we do need to bolster up our core, and our merchants are going to need some support, or we're going to end up, with another strip mall up the road, and the downtown's going to lose its heart.
Yeah, I hear you, Monica. This is the only project, though, that in fact impacts the roadway. The other projects aren't within the right of way and shouldn't, other than materials being delivered or something like that. I mean, that's very, very minimal impact.
Close. I know it's not a full road closure. But to merchants, it's still jackhammers and big rumbling and less parking for their employees and less parking for their customers. And I mean, that's really it. I think all of us in this room here today understand the necessities, but the merchants are ill prepared for a long-term reduction of income, I think.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yep. Heidi, Ms. Fenton, Councilmember Fenton.
Yeah, I really like the idea of making downtown if it's construction during, you know, FIFA, to really make it a fan zone. And so we really cater to the businesses and then for the community to come on down. So I'm kind of a big fan of that.
Yeah, I am too. You know, there's more to this onion as we peel back the layers, right? I'm learning that the state legislature has already made some rule changes to our alcohol laws and things like that. Apparently, they're only temporary though. So for FIFA, so we'll see how that all comes out, and as the communication comes out further, I think we have the opportunity to do some real cool, unique things that we haven't been able to do in the past. I'm not sure which on that screen, but I'm going to go to the Gary Anderson screen.
Excluding the community center construction, when is the city going to be done with their waterfront construction work that's going on right now?
The marina staff? Yeah. Mr. Mayor, you're muted.
Do you want me to give an update, or Mayor, you're muted?
Mayor, you're muted.
About September, Gary. It should be wrapped up.
All right, thanks.
Those bypass pumps are going away. The noisy bypass pumps that you see sitting there, I think this month. And then we start using the machinery that's in that building, and then it's the, you know, trying to make it pretty after that.
Okay, that's good.
And then I just wanted to point out that there are actual businesses getting together already. We just talked about it in our board meeting that really do want to put something together, like you said, a fan zone, something where in that closing the street aspect where we can utilize that space and encourage people to come down and get together and support our local businesses, because as Monica said, they're not prepared and they're freaking out. And we need to figure out if Fred, that would be amazing if you could look into the Seattle thing and see if we have any kind of options to help them. But I mean, quite a few of them are really struggling right now. And I'm just scared that here we are making the town beautiful, pulling out all of us together, and for it to all flop once the road gets stuck. So I just hope that we'll be able to contribute a little bit and have, you know, the city support and advertising and making sure that people are aware that yes, it's going to be a little rough downtown getting there, but it's really important in order to support our downtown.
Yeah, I'm confident giving dollars is not, we can't go down that rabbit hole. It's not realistic, because that is our general fund, and that's the fund that we pay for our employees with. So if you want to lay off police officers and other things that are paid by the general funds, that's the dollar. Those are the dollars that we would have to, and that's a council decision whether or not we want to give those dollars to the, you know, for mitigation. But what we can do is, you know, try to support, you know, make sure that everybody knows things are open. We can do things with signage and marketing and that aspect of it. Those are things that we can do, and I'm confident.
And that's where our team has been leading towards in our meetings that we've been discussing, is just pulling as much of that piece in to know that the town and the people know the city is supporting this.
Sarah, I might suggest that you and maybe Monica reach out to a lady by the name of Jessica Combs. She's the executive director of the Downtown Bremerton Association. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, right? They have a closed street in the heart of their downtown as we speak, as they're putting up Quincy Square. It is not as trafficked as ours, I will say, but it is in the heart of their downtown. And maybe see if there's pointers, tips, and tricks, because I know that they've had some positive feedback for some of the things that they've been working on over there. Again, I am not intimately familiar with what the Downtown Association is doing versus the city, but I think what I can tell you is that they have been working collaboratively in meetings to make sure that things are talked about and communication is getting where it needs to go.
Yeah, I agree. That's wonderful. And I think any information we can to help us prepare is going to be great.
Director Bond.
I was just going to share that I know in Seattle, when they've had projects in various neighborhoods, they go out of their way not just to put up signs saying businesses are open, but it is a marketing campaign where they're asking their residents, they're saying, please come support these businesses. They're struggling through the construction project, and basically making an appeal to residents to go out of their way and to actually drive into the construction zone to frequent those businesses. So I think we can put together a basic marketing plan to do that.
Wonderful.
Yeah. That's the approach that we can take.
Yeah. Any other questions on the Bay Street project and the detour? Director Ryan.
I just wanted to say I have to jump off for another meeting, so nice seeing everybody.
Thank you for being here, sir. Okay.
John, since we were talking about the Bay Street downtown, I just wanted everyone to know that I am doing another beautification project, and that is going to be on July 12th. And the focus of it's going to be a little towards the middle section of Bay Street. We really have been able to beautify the downtown with the flowers and our streets, and the city has been amazing with that, helping us. And our next section is probably going to be from Cloyes down to where that Ford dealership is. That's kind of my next section to work on. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to get a little bit more power washing done down there. Some of the walls that are connected to those parking lots on both sides really need it. And our struggle for us is that we don't have access to water. That's like our biggest thing so I'm trying to figure out which merchants there that we will be able to, that will help us out and be able to hook some things up. But if the city, especially that main wall right down, right next off of Rockwell, could help maybe get that wall pressure washed, and then we're going to work on the streets and the sidewalk, pulling all the weeds and all of that. That would be really helpful.
Okay. So I would also say, I was going to share this with you. I'm waiting for an email from the guy, but we had coffee with council this weekend on Saturday, and a fella came in and talked with me, and my notes are on my other computer. But essentially, there's a website out there called justserve.org. And essentially, it's out there for community members to put out volunteer opportunities in the area. So if you can travel the country and find a way to get engaged, and it'd be a great way to point people to an event that you might have, that you're getting more people outside of than just the Alliance, that maybe there are other folks and groups and community groups in and around the Port Orchard area that may show up in mass. So
could you repeat that website again?
Yep, it's justserve.org.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll reach out to that.
That was literally why he was there, looking for an opportunity for his group to get involved. And I said, I've got the perfect person for you. And so I didn't get his information, but he took mine. So that was just Saturday. So I'm sure I'll be on the lookout for an email from him, but I can share that website.
That would be great. And another, a couple organizations that have reached out are Girl Scout and Boy Scout groups. They want the hours, they want to be able to help. So if you know of any, this is a perfect opportunity for them. We'll make sure they have like safety vests and so forth with the kids by the street. But it would be a really good option.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sarah, just love everything you're doing.
Thank you.
You're doing phenomenal stuff, because Public Works can't tackle it all. So thank you very much.
We all got to come together. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Councilmember Chang.
Yeah, John, I just wanted to ask, where do you want to put on the agenda the topic of the downtown waterfront shuttle?
Well, I'm going to bring that up kind of at the end, since we missed our official agenda. I just thought we'd bring it up kind of at the good of the order there.
Okay, because it sort of fits after the detour, but okay.
Yep. Let's finish off the agenda so that we can roundtable it and talk through pre-op meetings. Will this be Mr. Bond or Mr. Fisk?
Yeah, I'll walk you through the couple of projects that we've got on the agenda. We had a second pre-application meeting with the Sydney Avenue Storage Project. This is a triangle shaped piece of property where Sydney Road Southwest goes underneath Highway 16. Highway 16 is on the right side of the screen on a diagonal, and Sydney Road is here. This is the intersection of Berry Lake where my cursor is. So they're proposing a self-storage project here with some apartments on the site as well. And so this is the second time they've met with us. They're trying to get their plans coordinated with the Sydney Road Southwest construction project because they want to extend the sewer to serve these apartments as part of that road project, and they don't want to rip up a brand new road. So as far as I can tell, this is moving forward. But I guess Chris Hammer already left. He would have the update on where they're at and getting their sewer design reviewed and approved. The second project I wanted to report on, we had a meeting with somebody looking to redevelop the Sherry's building on Bravo Terrace. And so I don't know who the new tenant would be. I don't believe they told us who the new tenant would be, but they did want to fix some things on the building and get it ready for a possible new tenant. And so stay tuned. Hopefully we'll hear an announcement on that in the near future.
And Director Brown, that's a different meeting than the people that we met with before with their pancake business?
When you say
I thought we had a pre-app meeting once before with the local purveyors of the local IHOPs.
Oh yeah, this may have been an IHOP now that you mentioned that. That is ringing a bell. I just could not remember.
Okay.
So those are the two noteworthy pre-apps that we've had since our last meeting, and we'll continue to update you if we get any new.
Can I interject something here that's relevant to Bravo Terrace? I met with the 3 hoteliers in town last week, and the owner of the hotel there on Bravo Terrace. We made the that whole area on that street no parking because we back when we were combating the RV problem and camping, and we had folks dumping their wastewater in the stormwater system and all kinds of problems there. So we were able to address that. The challenge that presents to this business owner is part of his clientele are long haul truck drivers, and they want they want to stay in the hotel, but that truck and trailer doesn't fit in his parking lot. Would this committee be supportive of us? One, we need to determine that the road's wide enough to park them along the shoulder, but he would like 2 parking spots and it would take an amendment to our code to create this, that are for long haul trucks to be parked in. Because right now they get tickets for parking there, and they're there. They show up at 5, 6 o'clock at night. They leave early in the morning, and I was going to bring up my mayor's report next week, but it's probably more appropriate for this committee.
Would it be us or land use, do you think?
Could take it to land use next, but could be either one. I just happened to be here and I just had a meeting.
I'll jump in if none of the other two have first initial thoughts. If it's not being used today and it's a no parking, I mean, as long as it doesn't impact the other businesses there, I'd be okay with it. With the understanding though that if it ends up being more of what we had in the past, then we're going to have to
no RVs
repeal that and change back because we don't want to reopen that can of worms.
So our step 1 is first making sure the road's wide enough.
Yeah.
And then, and it's he's wanting the 2 spaces on the frontage in front of his business. And
this is Red Lion.
Yes.
It's a new name now.
New name now. I can't. Yeah.
Blue Lion.
Yeah.
To kind of keep control over the circumstances, might just want to put a limit on how many days any one truck can park there.
It wouldn't be, we'd probably put something like 4 hours actually on it. Because he's saying they're not going to be there during the day. They'll only be there overnight. We don't have parking enforcement at night. And so if we show up the next day and it's there, because we don't want the RVs parking there.
Right, exactly.
Overnight. That's so. And I talked to him, we got to be careful here. And he goes,
Mm.
well, I'd like to try it. And I said, because if it turns it back into the other problem, we're going to take it away.
Okay.
So
Any other council members want to just type in on that or no?
Yeah, I would just have a sign there and say, you know, overnight for semis, but it sounds like, if they're leaving in the morning, how are they getting ticketed?
our police officers, because it's
Oh,
commercial
they'll
vehicle parking there. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, in the middle of the night then, but it
Yeah,
doesn't.
I think so.
I would say longer than 4 hours, because if it's overnight, it's gonna be longer than 4 hours.
I think if we just say no parking 9 to 5 or something like that, that
Mhm.
pretty well covers me.
Yeah.
Anyway, works. I'm gonna have Public Works looking into it. I just wanted to bounce it off of you guys since we were here.
Perfect.
That's like a good plan. Are they now the Quality Inn?
Hotel guests.
Yeah, I think that's the name of it now.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, and then the last thing before I turn it over, because I know the first topic we want in go to the order will be a shuttle, but Mr. Johnson, I'm looking to maybe next month, if it is amenable to you, wearing maybe one of your other hats that you wear in this community. Maybe a good FIFA update for this community, for this committee next month. And I know the mayor sits on that. I've been invited, but I haven't been to any of the meetings recently. But whatever information we have thus far, I know it's ever changing. But maybe next month that can be our topic.
Okay, sounds good.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, with that, let's move to our kind of roundtable, and I'm going to let Fred start because he just missed getting this on the official agenda this month, but he wants to talk about a shuttle.
Yeah, and I actually have been sort of corresponding with Erica. I don't know, if Erica, if you want to introduce the topic. It's something that, guess what, Seattle's doing on their waterfront. So it seems like it has been done. I know that the question the mayor is going to ask is, how are we going to fund it, which is a valid question. But I think just the topic I wanted to bring up was to see what kind of support is there for a shuttle to the downtown. And Erica, do you have any comments or anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I've been studying the bus line, and honestly, except for the Purdy rides, which is very commuter oriented, and there's nothing going up Sydney right now. Everything goes out Bay Street towards Bethel, and as far as Kitsap Transit's schedule today says, they have changed as of today to a 108 and a 109 and the Purdy rides. And that's what serves Port Orchard. And it just feels like
Erica, the
maybe
bus goes,
instead.
I live on Sydney and it travels right past my house every 30 minutes.
So then they need to update their service or their schedules for people online, because it's saying that there isn't as of today.
I'll
They
check with
just
Kitsap
changed
Transit
their
on that.
schedule today. But anyways, I don't know. It feels more like there should be a line, and we keep calling this a shuttle, servicing downtown Port Orchard, especially with the road closure coming and things like that. Other communities have little trolleys and things, which really help to drive their tourism in their towns, and people love them and think they're the cutest thing on earth. I don't know the first thing about funding. I've been looking at the regulations, Mayor Rob, that you had brought up when I came to the city council meeting. And honestly, I'm really confused by the wording in it, and am wondering, when they say that you have to find or look for other providers that might be interested in the project or whatnot, if that's just within our city, because that's where we're looking for the transportation, or if we need to look in all of Kitsap County or the region. But the Kitsap Airporter is the only bus line I can find that operates out of Port Orchard. So I've been trying to figure out ways to help our community have another option. I just was down at the market this last weekend all day doing dot surveys. And you wouldn't believe how many people came up to me at the entrance, upset about paid parking, upset about having to wheel their wheelchair from the other parking lot constantly, and I don't know. I just feel like there should be some kind of solution. And like Councilperson Chang was saying, like other cities are doing this. I don't know. I would love to help the council in any way I can to explore this if it's something that y'all want to explore. I hear other business owners saying that they also would love an opportunity to have more people flowing through. So that's my input. Thank you for listening.
Sure. I might just add, here's another opportunity where I hate reinventing the wheel because I spend too much of my energy on that hamster wheel. The city of Gig Harbor, I would say let's reach out. Let's find if there's somebody in Gig Harbor. They have a trolley system. It is operated by Pierce Transit. And they, I believe, have private funding that between their chamber, their downtown association, and some nice people have that they just that's privately funded, but then operated through Pierce Transit. It has been well more than 5 years since I've looked back into that and had those conversations. So don't hold me to account on all that. But my point is it happens in Gig Harbor. Let's maybe see if they have any answers for us. Councilmember Fenton.
And I think in the Seattle, isn't that the Pierce Transit too that's doing the shuttle? I believe in Seattle down by the water. And so, yeah, I'm a big supporter of this to try to get more information on it. And then also up by the courthouse, I know there's a bus stop in there.
Yeah.
So when you go in there, there's a bus stop. But what I'm saying is we need to find out what the schedule is, how often they come. And plus on the weekends, there's plenty of parking there. And so I'd like just to get some more information on how Kitsap Transit's bus line is.
Yeah, there is a route, goes right from the ferry dock, right past the courthouse. It leaves, unfortunately, on the hour. It's the 105. I'm on their website right now.
That's
and it goes out to Sedgwick and Sydney.
It's hourly from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and it's hourly on Saturday only 9 to 6.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Maybe we can get some more information out there, Erica, and I can work with you so the public can understand that too when it comes to the farmers market.
All right, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback because the Gig Harbor trolley came to mind as well. And I know that it's operated by Pierce Transit, and even just simple naming conventions, like maybe it doesn't seem like a big deal to go from call it a bus or a shuttle, but to call it a trolley is a whole different branding. It's a whole different naming convention. Maybe I just watched too much Mr. Rogers with my 1-year-old, but it evokes something completely different from, not to give public transit a black eye in that, but it's just, if we call it the Bay Street, trolley or something like that, find some funds to paint one of the buses red or something, it evokes a completely different brand and a completely different experience. It could be the same dang route and the same bus, right? I'm a big supporter because Gig Harbor's doing it right. I think doing a little fact finding on how that's been working, but just the naming conventions can, public perception.
Yep, because
I hear you, Josh.
And it even only runs in the summer months, right? Like there's a lifespan on that trolley that exists. So yep.
So Paulsbo did this about 6 or 7 years ago, partnered with Kitsap Transit and funded it. It was extremely expensive and it wasn't successful.
Yeah.
They backed away from it.
Councilmember Chang.
Yeah, the only other thing I'd add is that Pioneer Square had a bus that looked like a trolley. And I think Josh is right. It needs to be something that is more appealing and more touristy than just a bus. I agree with Rob. I think that what Paulsbo did not work. But there is sort of a precedent for something like this when, I don't remember the group that did it, but Rob, you remember when we extended foot ferry hours? I think we did it on weekends for certain hours. Just in the evenings. And I believe that might have been funded by the Chamber of the Merchants. It was a very limited thing, but there's a precedent for, I think, community support for something. And we would probably need to identify the hours and, a wish list. So maybe another committee can sort of brainstorm, like, does it go from Bay Street up Sydney, like, constantly? And does it look really cute like a trolley so people want to take it? And I assume it's free. We haven't even talked about that, but maybe there could be a fee or people could be given tokens. I don't know.
Yeah. Our long-term goal is to not have the farmer's market in the parking lot. When we're community center and the Orchard Street Plaza, now we've got a home for the farmer's market that it's not impact. That's the challenge is we're using the lion's share of our parking to host the farmer's market, which we want to have the farmer's market. And long-term, we're going to have that dedicated space, and then we won't be impacting our parking the way that we are and forcing everybody, to park up the hill. And they shouldn't have to when we get the community center built.
Erica.
So I just want to make one comment. I used to drive one of those trolleys in a community in Minnesota. I worked for a suburban transit line in Minnesota, and it was very popular and it was free. And second, with the parking lot that we're using right now, I don't know if Mr. Anderson could comment more on this, but I had a lot of complaints on Saturday about the new parking fee on the weekends, if that would continue into it. I'm not sure. We're getting people telling us they're going to stop coming to our market because of the $5 parking near our market. So that might be just something to consider if we move in the future when the community center is built.
Yeah. Gary, you're muted if you're talking to us. But before I let Gary go, I'll just say I know that's a struggle that councils even had to work with, because we hear from some of the merchants that they don't have parking for their folks. So what we're really trying to do is enforce what's out there and keep the turnover traffic, so that while we want them to come down and see your market and visit our businesses, we want to make sure that there's an opportunity for all. So
we do understand that. We're totally
it's a balance, right? And so right now it went too far the other way. We're coming this way. I don't know if we went too far yet. We don't know. We still got to see. But I think our intention at the moment is to kind of at least with parking enforcement. I don't set the rates for the parking for the port, but I know we have somebody who might give us some insight on that.
Well, I can probably provide a little insight. Thanks, John. You kind of couched it just about right, that, any of our properties, they cost money to maintain them. And, we wrestled with this tariff quite a bit, limited it just to special events pretty much, even though there is a fair amount of free parking on those special event days anyway. I think we have 200 free parking stalls down there. So, but at the same time, the cost of maintaining the area is not inexpensive, and we try to keep our maintenance costs neutral. We don't try to make any extra money on it. We just want to take care of our waterfront properties properly, so they're an asset for the community without it costing the community a whole bunch of money. But the parking thing is top of mind for me, and I'm going to probably mention this at every one of our meetings just to keep it top of mind, that the city and the port and all the stakeholders are going to have to grapple with a parking structure somewhere in downtown to serve the community. Once we get past all of the construction issues that are impediments to business, the parking issue is going to come full force in our face, and we should start thinking about how we're going to correct that. So,
yeah. Thank you, Gary. Councilmember Fenton.
Yeah, I think parking's always going to be an issue. Now, when the farmer market moves, I think it's still going to be a problem for parking, just because that space is going to be open. I don't think that's going to solve our problem. I really believe that I like the idea of really pursuing a shuttle or a bus or something that has advertisement on there, because on the weekends up by the courthouse, and you got a parking garage right there. I think we need to really use that area for, and then people can park there and then get on a bus and go on downtown as long as they want, and spend time downtown and keep their car right up above the street, and they don't have to walk down.
Yeah, and I would encourage anyone, especially on council, myself included, to really dig into a conversation when somebody complains about parking. I was downtown Saturday. I had to be at Josephine's at 10 a.m. I literally parked in front of Josephine's on the street. There were actually, I don't remember if it was 4 or 5 open street parking spots on Bay Street at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning, right? So I always, is it a parking problem or a perceived parking problem? And I think that also does depend on the time of day too, because I will say when I left at noon, there weren't 4 or 5 spaces on the street, but you know, at 10 a.m. I think is a big portion of that. And so, but there were spots, right? And so I always I dig into that. Well, did you look here? Did you look there? I mean, even at there were hundreds, maybe thousands. I don't know how many people were at the senior parade on Friday, but I found a spot on the same block I was sitting in, and there was no parking on the road that day. I think it is an education piece to know, hey, there's a lot of parking. You just got to know where it is sometimes. It's not just in that main lot along the water.
Yeah, I think it depends. And you're right, because I've been down there to the farmers market and there's no spot. It's packed out. And it depends on what event. And a lot of, you know, you can go down by the bank, but for some people, it's really hard to walk. And so that's kind of a little jaunt.
And that's really why I get into some of those conversations, right? Because I would challenge that person, like, what do you do when you go to the mall? The Kitsap Mall, right? Because you're going to walk probably further to get to the store you're going to in the mall from your parking spot than you are to get to the farmer's market.
Oh yeah,
Depending
well,
on where you gotta park.
I'm talking about more handicapped people, kind of.
Yeah, I know, and I want to make sure we have plenty of that too. But in general, that's why I dig into those and dig a little further in those conversations.
Oh, for sure.
You know, with the marina, and it won't help this summer, but by this fall, marina pump station's done. There's some parking that gets added back when that project's done. So it'll be a little better next spring, but then we start the next construction project, you know. You'll be able to, but that parking will exist and will be there even during the construction. So
okay. All right. Erica.
I just want to end on, like, some of this too doesn't have anything to do with parking, but to draw people downtown. Like, it really having a tourist aspect and something like that as we're building apartment buildings right on the waterfront, as we're approaching beautifying and making our city better. It really just adds that little bit of something that people come because they're like, just like they go take the train rides over at the South Kitsap Regional Park. You know, it's something to do with your kids, with your family, to get down there. There's people that are going to be living on the waterfront that might want to go down and get something from the new grocery store right there or whatnot, have something to eat. It just makes our town more accessible and more tourist friendly.
Agreed. I think over time, for sure, something like this will come to fruition.
Yeah, remember too, the long-term plan in the master plan that is for downtown, across the street from the community center is is intended to have a parking structure with 2 residential towers on it. But you know, hopefully we see that in our lifetimes. But that is the plan.
That's Kitsap Bank. Kitsap Bank owned property. Is that part of their plan?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
So there's 4 parcels there, and that's in our master plan.
Okay. Anything else for good of the order today?
Oh, here, just a minute.
So before I turn it over to Joe, I'm going to take the opportunity because it's been on my to-do list for at least a week and a half. I know I sit on your board, Akita, and we have an upcoming meeting while all of AWC, we are going to be out in Kennewick at a conference. So maybe all your city partners might have, I know at least the mayor, and I believe the mayor and I will be there. So we won't have representation from Port Orchard.
Yeah, so we're gonna move that.
Okay.
So that's part of what I've been working on, is trying to figure out a date for our Q2 meeting to happen in July. So Gary, that'll affect you as well. Let's see here. I wanted to say thanks to Dennis Ryan, actually, although he's gone. Dennis was once again representing Port Orchard at our Meet the Agencies event, where we provide an opportunity for small businesses to talk with jurisdictions. Arna Bacher from the port was also there, did a great job, got a lot of inquiries about how to work with the port, contract with the port. We had about 60 plus small businesses there that day. So that's something that we did. And just wanted to say thanks to Dennis and thanks to Arna. And that's it from me. Erica, the market's amazing this year. Thanks for all your work.
Yeah, concur. Everywhere we turn, we're hearing that our market's the best one in the county. So good job. Heidi.
Yes. Okay. Well, this has always been on my mind for the last 3 years. Now, we all know that Annapolis Dock has been closed, and I can't get John Clausen to open it. It is such it's an amazing dock. And it's the taxpayer, it's the community that owns that. And how should we go? I want to open it to the people. And I was maybe, Gary, do you have any, ideas? I just feel like what a waste of a dock. And especially, FIFA's going to be here. It's beautiful. It's for economic development. It's a tourism spot. And it says even in the, you look it up, it was meant for always to be a community dock. And John Clausen even said they're not going to put.
That's not an accurate statement.
He didn't let me finish my my sentence, Mr. Mayor. He said it at a Rotary. He said it at even a Chambers, that there's not going to be a ferry there. And so the last time I talked to him, I go, you even said there wasn't going to be a ferry there. And then he goes, we'll never say never, but I don't know when. And plus the tide goes way out. And I have a passion for that, that beautiful dock to be open to the community, and it should be. And so I don't know, do I get a bunch of petitions? I mean, the taxpayers owns it, but Kitsap Transit bought it by a grant, and it was still supposed to be in there for the community to own it. And if you look it up, it says that. So I'm bringing this up to the EDT meeting because I think it's important, and it's important to our community, our city.
So I'll throw my 2 cents into it. The public owns our water treatment facility, and they don't get access to that.
They can get a tour if they wanted to.
Probably not.
The public cannot get a tour of that. You and I can by request, and no guarantee there, but the public can't get a tour of the water treatment facility.
Okay.
But I would say,
well, those are 2 different things, I'm telling you. Okay, you got to
I'm just saying that if you're going down that road, let's make sure that
those are apples and oranges.
Deal. I hear you. I hear you, but I think that's a Kitsap Transit, right? Like different bucket of dollars, different organization. It would be like us trying to tell the city of Bremerton what to do in their city. And so while you can take some action, I don't know that the city can take any action.
The community can, the taxpayers can.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The community can, but the city won't take I don't believe, an official.
As a city council, I I am for the community. I'm a voice of the community.
Yep.
So the dock is open. It always has been open. It's the float that is not open. And Washington, you can look at it. Here's another lens to look at it. Does Washington State Ferries let you fish off of their ferry docks? They don't. It's a transportation facility. It was purchased from the Port of Bremerton for the intended purpose to run a ferry there. And that's what they're doing there. So I
I-
don't see that changing.
Well, and it's too bad, and I will show proof on when you go on Google that it is a community. It's for the community, and it's the pier that you can walk on. And even way back when you guys did the for the pathway, it was from ferry to ferry. Oh no, now you changed it from pier to pier. I just feel like it should be a dock that's open to the people. That's all, and
Perfect.
I will try to
Okay.
pursue that more.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Chang.
My 2 cents is that it would be nice if the dock were part of like the mosquito fleet, where we had the different docks that used to ferry people all around. It would also maybe be nice if we saw like a Friends of Annapolis Dock type of organization, sort of like they have Friends of Harper Pier. I think if we heard from more people who wanted to use it for recreation, things could happen. There'd probably have to be, a feasibility study, like how much does it cost and all that. But if you just look at a map, though, it does look like at one time it might have been part of the historic network of docks.
Yeah. Well, I would say get together a group and take it to a transit meeting. Would be my recommendation. Anything else for good of the order? Perfect. I want to thank the staff for pulling this all together for us today. And I thank everybody for their attendance. I believe our next meeting is slated for July 14th. If there's nothing else, we will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.